Hey guys, welcome back to the Hands-On channel. I thought I'd take a moment today before I get into installing more of this Hardie board on this ICF building. I thought I'd take a few minutes to show you guys some of the different methods that I think are great and some of them that aren't so great. And we'll talk about the pros and cons a little bit of each one. First up here, I saw that Irwin made a blade, and I've mentioned in another video that I really like Irwin tools. Try to get it close here for you so you can kind of see what's going on there. Bought this at Lowe's. It was around $20 for this, and this is number 3. I haven't opened it yet. It's a brand new one. It's made for cutting cement fiberboard, it says. I'm not sure if it's carbide tipped or how they're doing it, but anyways, they work pretty well up to a point. And they're not really, they don't last very long is what I'm getting at. That's one of the problems with these things. And it kicks up a ton of that dust, this concrete dust. I mean, a lot of it. You got to make sure you're downwind or upwind from the thing so that when it blows, it goes out, and gets away from you and you're not in the cloud, which is hard to do because the wind shifts a lot. So, not my favorite method. It's quick. But honestly, it's not as clean as I expected it to be. Now, like I said, when they're brand new, they're a little better. But after they get a little wear on them, I mean, 2 or 3 boards, and you can tell there's some wear on it, and it's wandering a little bit. So that was a little disappointing, especially since I've invested $60 in these things, and I'm about to be. So basically, it's for me doing 20-foot section with all the cuts that I've had to do. When I was exclusively using this, I was getting 1 wall per blade. So it depends how you look at it. Yeah, it's a little quicker, but by the end, when you're trying to milk it along, get those last few cuts out, they get rougher and rougher. So before that, I did a video a while back about just using the old Stanley or whatever kind of box knife you have like this, and that actually is a pretty good method. I was talking to my wife. It's, to me, almost about the same amount of time, at least. By the time you set up out here off grid and start the generator and all that stuff, you can almost be at least 3/4 of the way done with one of these right here. And another little tip for you, I guess, here is that the first time I was out here, we were running real low on razor blades, and I didn't have any. I didn't want to go to the store. It was closed or something. I don't remember what the deal was, but it was Sunday or something like that, and I couldn't get them. And what I came up with is you can snap the ends. You run it up in there like that, and you take a pair of pliers and safely away from your face. Might want to wear some safety glasses and snap it away like that. And you can actually, for this cement fiberboard, it gives you a brand new edge again. So just something to keep in mind, because I've probably gone through, at least 100 of these blades. I mean, we've just used the heck out of them, because when I put them up, I like to also kind of chamfer the edge like this so that it gives the caulking a nice place to stick in there and get in there and help hold it in. Hopefully that's the theory. So anyways, this is a great method, and it's also, you have to have this for the cleanup like I'm talking about, and for some of the other maybe you make a cut and you've got it a little fat right here, or your window trim has a little knot in it and it's protruding out and you need to clearance that. It's pretty easy to take this and kind of use it like a piece of sandpaper, and just put a steep, not too steep, but put an angle on it so that you can get a little scrape going, and you can clean that off fairly easily. So that's a good method. Just make sure you have, maybe buy a couple of these. Get the good quality one. Don't get a junk one, because we bought one of these little cheap ones for $4 or $5, and it was dangerous. It was so bad. So get a good quality, preferably a Stanley or something that's been around a while like that. But that's a good method. You're going to have that. And then I was doubtful about it, but I thought, I wonder if they make any masonry blades for a jigsaw. I had tried it and had some limited success using these DeWalt 18 TPI metal blades, and they do work, but not very long. It's not a very good solution for long term. Try to get out of the shadow there. There we go. But yeah, these work. You're just going to need a lot of them, because you're only going to get 1 or 2 cuts out of each one of them. And especially if you're just doing cross cuts, you can probably get 4 out of each blade, maybe 4 cuts, and it'll be clean. But after a while, it just smooths this out so much that you're not even cutting anymore. So that is an option. It's just, you know, you're going to use a lot of them. Well, then I picked up over at Lowe's again, and we're not sponsored by them. It's just you know, it's convenient and close to my place, and I like them better than Home Depot. Anyhow, I bought this Bosch, what are they calling it here? A hard tiles blade, ceramic tile. And I was doubtful that it would work. I was like, let's give it a try. And it wasn't super cheap. I think this thing was like $5 or $6 for this one blade. But I have cut a ton of this Hardie board siding. And you can see, hopefully that's in focus enough for you there that, let me try to focus it. Hopefully you can see that that thing's worn down there, but it's still got some of this diamond or whatever this material is here. It's still got some right there. And this thing is still cutting strong, even though it looks like that. See if I can cycle it out. I think that's all the way out. So let me just pull it out of there. Got to get my dog. Anyways, I was saying there, this jigsaw is actually becoming my preferred method. It's it's faster than a little bit faster than the razor blade, and definitely a lot less hard on the arms and hands, you know, because making those cuts over and over. You got it with a razor blade, you got to score it on each side about probably 20 times on each side, I would say. And so, you know, that's 40 strokes on that thing per cut. And it's just out of the question to do a rip cut on something that long. That's 12-foot long board. You couldn't I mean, you could, but you know, who wants to sit there and use a razor blade that long? And I was doubtful that this was going to get it done yesterday, but I did it with this very blade, and it was still cutting good. By the time I got down to the end of the 12 feet, I was totally blown away. And I was able to actually make a cleaner cut with this than I did with the circular saw with a jig set up next to it, or a guide set up on there, trying to hold the circular saw straight. So, guys, this is the way to go. Just go out, you know, spend half. You could get 4 of those blades, maybe not, close to 4 of those blades, those Bosch blades I was showing you. And if you've got a jigsaw, it's way less dusty. It's way, you know, you can control it better. You can, with a jigsaw, you can, you know, this one here anyways, I've got variable speed on it, so I can run it slow, which I normally do at first, but then by the time, especially on a rip cut, by the time you get to the end of the 12 feet, you need to go a little faster, you know, so you're running her full bore. So anyhow, guys, just wanted to do a quick video here, give you some tips, my thoughts on this, having a lot of experience cutting it and hanging it. One other thing that real quickly we'll talk about is that you go through a heck of a lot of these right here, these countersink bits. I mean, there may be some made for masonry, but I couldn't find any that were small enough, you know, to do what I'm trying to do here. I think I'm using number 8 or number 10 screws. I can't remember, but you got to countersink them a little bit, or else the next lap board will stick out and protrude out. And you want it to sit nice and flat and be a tight envelope. You know, you want it to be as tight as you can get it, which is why I've been using the PL375 on the bottom and lots of screws. I would rather personally see screws than have my siding flapping around in the wind. And plus, if you countersink them just slightly, I mean, I'm not talking about very much, but just slightly, then you can throw a bead of caulk over that, or a little, you know, dab of caulk and cover it up. You'll never know it's there once it's painted. So anyhow, guys, you're going to go through a lot of sharp tools when you're doing this work. The Hardie board itself is a good product, but anything that you think you need, buy like 5 times more than you really thought than you initially think you're going to need, because this stuff is hell on sharp tools. Any kind of tools like that bits, drill bits. And so what I did yesterday when I was in town at the hardware store, I bought several more of these, like 3 or 4 more of these. And you can actually, I don't know about this type because it has like a double shank thing here, a double cutting edge. The nice thing about the double cutting edge is it cleans out the hole for me, so I don't have to worry about the thing sticking onto the siding, and instead it just goes straight through to the stud. The bad thing is I don't know how hard that's going to be to sharpen myself. Those other ones I had didn't have that, and I could actually sharpen those with a file. But when I was in town, I bought a couple of masonry bits. And it's a little finicky to have to change out the 2 different masonry bits on the drill. A little slower because I have to, you know, instead of just pushing the countersink through, I have to first run that small one in, and then I'm just basically touching the, you know, touching the face of the board with it and just barely lightly countersinking it in. I'm not running this all the way through. I'm just, you know, using this as my countersink. And that's actually been working quite well. So if I had another drill and I could leave one set up like that, that'd be great, but I don't have that. I've just got the impact and the drill. So anyways, guys, I don't want to get too long here. So and my battery light's blinking on me, so I better get off here. Give you one last look at the mountains. My dog's out there exploring. Beautiful day. I mean, beautiful. Just perfect. I got a little shade going here, so I got to sign off for now, and hope you guys are having a beautiful day wherever you are, and hope these tips helped you out. And if they did, please hit the thumbs up, like and subscribe, all that fun stuff. And until then, we'll see you next time.